Well, the original audition for Troy, none of it was filmed. So that that you only have my word for it, how it went. The original concept for Counselor Troy was very much a kind of Icelandic, cool, mysterious, kind of unemotional character, and was descriptively tailored more for how I looked and how I would play her. The description for Tasha Yar was like a little fire plug, dark and tough, and kind of, I think, based more around the character of Vasquez, I think, in Alien. One of the great scenes that I ever read, sadly, was never filmed, and that was my audition scene for Tasha Yar. It was a scene in which she was sent to Counselor Troy for actual counseling. She was very upset, and she was struggling with her position on the bridge. She felt unentitled to it and undeserving. And she was really struggling with that. And so she went to Counselor Troy to talk about it and see what could happen. And of course, Troy said, "That's ridiculous. You've earned this place. You are rightfully here. You are the best at what you do, and you're just getting ahead of yourself, or you're feeling some sort of insecurities about it." Tasha was idolizing Captain Picard, to the point where she couldn't do her job properly. She felt, I don't deserve to be, the chief of security under such a magnificent human being. And, Troy had to sort of talk her back into, reality, and ground her and say, you just need to go out and have fun. Go out and just take a break, get drunk, have sex, do something, take your mind off things. You're fine. And it was a great scene. It was a great scene because it was one of the only scenes between them. And, it really gave you sort of an insight into, these still are human beings. They're not just, robots, perfect robots. Yeah, I hope there's a Trekkies 3. Roger Nygard, the director, and my partner, he and I have discussed it. We'd like to do one more. I'd like to, pass it on now to the next generation, so to speak, with the new cast of the movies and J.J. Abrams, taking the baton. And I'd love to talk to all of those actors, who have now entered into this world. And there's a whole new set of fans that they have and what their experiences are. And I'd also like to visit some of the places I haven't been to, which will truly make it a global phenomenon, places like Asia. Gates McFadden and I actually are in the same theater company together, so we have contact a lot. It's Ensemble Studio Theater, EST, in Atwater Village, and Gates is the artistic director, and I'm a company member, and we collaborated on a play a little over a year ago, which was a huge hit, House of Gold. Most of the actors, we only see each other when we're at conventions. We all have very, separate lives, and all very busy lives and families, and but it's always wonderful to connect at these events and check in with each other. And we're bound by this show forever. When I first left the show, I distanced myself a little bit, caught my breath a little bit, and reflected. And but soon was able to do the documentaries, which brought me into the world of fandom and Star Trek from a different perspective, which then opened up other channels. And I really was deeply touched by some of the stories and the people I met over the years making Trekkies and Trekkies 2. And it allowed me to feel more part in a way. You know, it didn't feel like I was over here as an actor and I was, you know, and the fans were over here. It just kind of, now to me it feels more synthesized, you know. For me it doesn't feel like you can have Star Trek without the fans. It's the most symbiotic kind of relationship I've ever seen. I mean, I've done certainly other television shows and films, and there's nothing like it. There's nothing like the relationship you have with fans than Star Trek. It was a difficult decision to make, and one that wasn't done, you know, irrationally. It took weeks and months and lots of discussions with other castmates, with family, with friends, trying to get a perspective. But because of internally, it was becoming so increasingly frustrating to be on this show where there was nothing for me to bite into. There was no part to play. And after, you know, finally Gene Roddenberry himself confirming to me that it wasn't going to change, that this is what it is. Now, what we know now is that Gene, you know, didn't stay on the show for the whole duration, and that Brannon and Ron and Michael Piller came on, and they began to you know, television was changing in a way where multiple storylines were being introduced into episodic television, but Gene didn't want to do that, had no intention of doing that, whereas, you know, other people were. And so, you know, perhaps, yes, it would have changed to my, you know, benefit, but who could possibly have seen that? I think had Gene said, listen, you know, we're just getting going, I'm going to introduce multiple storylines, but he didn't say that. He very specifically said that Star Trek is a formula, that it's the captain, the first officer, and Data. That's who the stories are about. That's what he did in the 60s, that's what he knew, that's what he felt worked, and that's what he wanted for this. And he said, you guys, you know, once in a while there'll be something that includes you, but really the focus is on those guys and the, you know, visiting alien du jour. And he himself completely understood my frustration at the same time. I think what you're doing is extraordinary in the you know, you're taking it one step further. You're not just collecting and reassembling the bridge, you know, as a sort of art piece, historical, you know, television thing. It's really to take this into and allow children to come and be part of this. It can only spark their imagination and their desire to, you know, see science and technology at work and actually be interactive and be part of, not just, you know, sitting removed on a television screen, that they can now, you know, actually envision themselves doing something like this, and that it will just encourage them to continue this desire and this passion for engineering, science, technology, adventure, exploration, math, all the things that are just, you know, we have to support in our children. This is Denise Crosby, and I am honored to be here and be part of the Enterprise restoration. I wish you guys all the best, and it's so exciting to see this legacy continued.